And by the way, we don't make any medical claims, although when we have Rick on, he can talk a little differently than we do, but we don't diagnose or make any medical claims here. This is about your body getting its healing, and Rick can actually state that so much better. But Rick, I got a question here. We have someone who has a friend, her daughter's 21, and she's on dozens of rounds of antibiotics over the last 3 years due to tonsillitis, a consistent tonsillitis problem. I'm trying to be legal here, and she had it didn't go well. The surgeon snipped a taste bud, and now everything she eats apparently tastes like she's thrown up. The surgeon says that she might regain her taste buds back in normal 3 months, and she may not. On top of all that, she suffers from severe depression and mood swings for years now, and it's getting worse. Now, she's asking what products will help. She says, of course, Cell Defender, but could you explain why that might help too? And then any other suggestions you have?
Well, we don't know what exactly happened to begin with, why she had her chronic tonsillitis. Obviously, it was an infection because that's what tonsillitis is, inflammation of the tonsils due to infection. They tried antibiotics, it didn't work. I don't know if they actually cultured the infection to find out what it was. But clearly, if she had such chronic infection, she probably has some immune system issues. So the Cell Defender, first of all, clears out toxins. It could be inhibiting natural metabolic processes. When you have, especially children that have so many of these health issues, we find out time and time again they're poor excretors. They tend to hold on to toxins, volatile organic compounds, and heavy metals, and that becomes a higher body burden, which causes more disease and dysfunction. So it certainly can't hurt her to take Cell Defender and try to get these toxins out of her body. I think it'll make everything work better because a cleaner, healthier body fixes itself. Not to mention that we know that there's an upregulation of zinc finger protein metabolism, which is going to improve her immune system overall. On top of that, I'd recommend the Immunity because Immune does help the immune system directly. And in so doing, you wind up with just improved immune system health overall, which is going to prevent infection. Lastly, it really kills me the fact that her surgery went so badly that she actually had ablation of her taste buds. I would actually recommend the Plus Relief because the Plus Relief is not only good post surgically, it's a neuromodulator. And so it might actually help regulate the neural response from her taste buds and help improve that issue as well. So that would be the oral spray for the Plus Relief.
And we've seen a lot of nerve regeneration lately with different people using the Plus Relief.
I don't want to say regeneration.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So we don't know if we're actually regenerating nerves. Now, it is true that peripheral nerves can regenerate, whereas nerves of the central nervous system don't seem to regenerate, absent stem cell therapy. But we see improvement of nerve function. So we believe the nerves are still there, they're just not properly carrying a signal. And by modulating the signal through the nerve, and this is important because pain is a big signal. So we know we're turning down the dial of the pain signal so pain goes away. But it's true that if there's not enough of a signal, we can dial that up. So by modulating the signal, we're bringing back function where there was loss, and we're bringing down signals where there's too much. And so that's important. We're modulating these signals. So I give the example all the time of our one investor that got hit in the face as a child, has not felt the side of his face since he was 9 years old. He started taking the product for pain. He's in his late 60s, and the feeling came back in his cheek. And he calls me and say, "I've not felt my cheek since I was 9 years old, and now I can feel it." This is amazing.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Thank you for the verbiage, the correct verbiage. We have a brand new person just joined our Avini community and has that sciatic pain resulting from the spinal stenosis and also, I can't say the next word, at the L4-5. Been using the Plus Relief, and I know we can say pain with that, so we're not making medical claim here because it's okay, but she does both gel every 3 hours, did it for a month with some improvement. A couple of days ago, discovered in one of the question and answer sessions, the gel should be applied to the site of the impingement, not along the nerve itself. I'm just getting started, and this is a new plan, but are there any suggestions?
Yeah, so she misheard. So sciatica is the pinched nerve in the lower back, exactly what she's talking about, L3, L4. But you feel it in your leg. So I can't tell you how many people take the gel and slather it all over their legs, thinking it's going to help. But that's not where the pinch is. And that's not where the inflammation is. The inflammation is in the lower back. So we try to tell people, even though your pain is in your legs, it's a downstream pain because of the pinch in the lower back. So she should be rubbing the gel along her lower back, but she seems to know where it is, L3, L4. So if she's rubbing the gel along her lower back, that should help. And then the oral spray for systemic inflammation.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. I had someone ask when we will be opening up in Canada. So we just want them to know we are open in Canada. In fact, we have several of our members here from Canada doing an excellent job there. And I'm sure we will be having other countries open up soon. We don't know what, but you know what? We're expanding. This thing is going to explode. So get ready, right?
I'll leave that up to Neil if he wants to add anything.
Okay. Neil, you want to
Well,
add something now?
well, we're basically on NFR in Canada right now, but I can tell you that Rick and I are working intensely with a very slow Canadian government for 2 years to get products approved that have been approved up there for 10 years. So we're doing as best we can. As soon as we can, we'll have a warehouse up there, but there's nothing we can do about it right now. It's on government hold.
But as
Okay.
far as someone enrolling as a Avini member, building a
Absolutely.
business, ready to
Absolutely.
go. Yeah,
Ready
we've
to
been
go.
doing.
I
Okay.
can tell you that we're very close for those people in Canada, and I can say this just because I got off the phone today about it. We'll be starting very soon to be paying you by debit card as opposed to check. That should happen hopefully in the next 30 days.
Just to reiterate what Neil said, because he uses abbreviations. NFR means not for resale. So basically, we're allowed to ship from the US to an individual for personal use as long as they're not reselling the product, because we're not registered to sell in Canada. It's for personal use. So we can sell all of our products NFR in Canada. They order from us and we ship to them. Eventually, the products will be registered in the country of Canada and in each individual province. That'll allow us to have a warehouse in Canada to store the product there and ship from there. And that's called OTG, on the ground. So our goal is to go from NFR to OTG. But right now, all of our products are available in Canada for personal use.
Alejandro, that we have not determined any countries that we're going into at this point.
Well, awesome, guys. That was incredible detail. Thank you for that. That enlightened me too. I appreciate that. And maybe that was where their question came from, and I didn't understand the details that they needed. So thank you. Stephanie was asking, can people who are allergic to silver still take our nano silver?
I don't know anyone who's allergic to silver. Allergies are about an immune response. Some people are sensitive to different things, not allergic. I question what they mean. Do they put silver jewelry on and they have a skin reaction? In which case, it could be some other reaction from the jewelry. I don't know anybody that's actually allergic to our nano silver or would even be sensitive to it. Its effects are almost entirely on the cell walls of microbes, viruses, and bacteria. So
Okay.
I'd have to do a deep dive. I'd have to find out why they think they're allergic to silver.
We'll connect you with Stephanie there for sure. Karen's asking, will the Plus Mind Vision, our new product we're so excited about, help with chronic dry eyes?
There's two things. Chronic dry eye as an undiagnosed condition is usually, it could be caused by allergies. It could, where you are constantly drying your eyes. It could be just your environment. You're in a very dry environment. Most dry eyes is actually caused by inflammation. And in the extreme, it's called Sjogren's syndrome, where you have inflammation, autoimmune inflammation of the lacrimal glands around the eyes and salivary glands in the mouth. And so you have dry eyes and dry mouth. But that is inflammatory. So I think the Plus Mind Vision will help. It does have some natural anti-inflammation, but believe it or not, the best thing I would recommend is they have this chronic condition would be the Plus Relief, which is a potent anti-inflammatory. So if they use the Plus Relief oral spray, that might help a lot if that's the issue.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I got a question here that it looks to me like this person could use a connection three-way call, but I'm just going to let you address it for sure from the science perspective. Also, Rick, because it's so valuable to have your information. Thank you. By the way, thank you for taking your time. We know you had a tough day, and we really, really appreciate you taking your time out. Seriously, we love you.
I actually have people coming here at 7 in 40 minutes, so I might have to run away just to open the door for people. So.
All right, we'll try to be a little quicker here. So someone has deadly cells. They've been on our Cell Defender Marcy dose for 3 months already, and the scans show new rogue cells are continuing to appear in the new spots in the bones. This person would like to encourage them to stay on the Cell Defender, and so they're thinking that it hasn't helped. So can you just approach this, because I think you and Neil have had such a great example in ACE. Maybe this is something that could help. that person,
Well,
but
listen, we have hundreds of great examples. There's actually now over a dozen publications where zeolite, clinoptilolate's been used as an adjunct to chemotherapy, radiation, other treatments for the treatment for cancer, showing improved patient outcomes, reduction in side effects from chemo and radiation. But there's a lot to unpack. Like, are they just taking cell defender? We make no claim whatsoever about any of our products to cure or treat symptom or disease. If someone comes to me and says they have a stage 4 cancer, I'm not going to say, just take my stuff. I'm going to say that you need to use every tool in your toolkit. You might need to be on chemo or radiation or some other modality. So I have to see, is she doing anything else, or is she simply taking her stuff in the hopes that we're going to cure her cancer, which we can never say we're going to cure her cancer. Even with ACE's parents, I was very clear. I said, we're not trying to offer you false hope. We're saying this is something that can help, especially if you're doing other treatment modalities. It's certainly going to reduce side effects from those other treatment modalities, and you should try it. And we saw great results with that. So the question is she just taking this in the hopes that we're going to completely cure her? Is she trying something else? In which case, that this is the sort of person I like to talk to them. I like to talk to their physician and try to figure out exactly what they're doing and give them better advice.
awesome. And by the way, you might just for people that are listening and are brand new and never heard ACE's testimonial, could you share what did happen in using the conjunction of the doctors and the natural products together, kind of what they saw and what?
Okay. Well, I'll take a step back and talk about the history of use of clinoptilolate zeolite for the use with cancer as adjunctive to chemo and radiation. So like I said, there's been about a dozen publications now. And what they found is a couple of things. They found that, first of all, it is an alkalizer. So it does raise the pH of the body. Cancer can only grow in an acidic pH. Just think about this. Cancer needs to copy itself over and over again. That includes copying the DNA. DNA is acidic. It's deoxyribonucleic acid. So it requires an acidic environment to keep making DNA to make new cells for the cancer to grow. And so one of the things that cancer does is it tries to create an incredibly acidic environment for growth. So if you do anything that is an alkalizer that alkalizes your body and gets it up to a physiologic pH of 7.4, that can inhibit cancer growth. So that's one thing. The second thing is there was a study published out of Croatia right about 15 years ago, where they found an upregulation of the p53 tumor suppressor gene. So understand, all of our cells have all of these check marks. They have these mechanisms to stop the growth of cancer. And understand this too. All of us get cancer every day. Every one of us gets cancer every single day. You have a cell that mutates, but we have mechanisms in our body to that cell itself recognize that it's wrong and kills itself. That's called apoptosis or programmed cell death. Or the body understands there's something wrong with that cell and kills it. A healthy immune system will kill it before it can become a successful cancer, before it can replicate to thousands of cells where eventually it starts growing. So one of the tumor suppressor genes is we have P21 and P53. We have found that the zeolite activates one or both of those tumor suppressor genes, and they had a theory of why. So understand that the zeolite is way too big to get inside a healthy cell. It's way too big. But there are cells that have leaky membranes, cells that are under viral attack, they're undergoing viral lysis, and cancer cells have leaky membranes. Why? Because cancer cells are voracious. They have to make copies of themselves. So imagine that you're building houses. You need as much wood and brick and cement and wiring as you can get to build another house. So the cancer cell needs to make copies, copy, copy, copy. So it's voracious and pulling in every bit of raw material it can to make new cells. So anything that gets near a cancer cell gets sucked into the cell through endocytosis and pulls it through the cell membrane. And so the theory is that you have the zeolite cage that's floating around your body, sucking up toxins, holding on to volatile organic compounds on its surface. It comes near a cancer cell, and the cancer cell sucks it in. Well, now it's this toxic bomb that's full of heavy metals and have volatile organics all around it. It gets inside the cell, and because it now destabilizes the cell, it upregulates that P21 or P53 tumor suppressor gene and undergoes apoptosis. That's the theory. Understand there was, I said, publications on this. The Croatians did the most work on this, where they found an upregulation of P21 and P53 and an upregulation of apoptosis and a resolution of the cancer. And this is important. There's two ways for cells to die. There's necrosis and apoptosis. Necrosis is the cell dies, and now you have a dead cell sitting there. That's a necrotic cell that just takes up space. The only way to really get rid of it is over time. It can be phagocytized, or it needs to be removed surgically. Apoptosis is fascinating because apoptosis is programmed cell death. The cell eats itself up with peroxide, and then it actually sends a signal to white blood cells to eat the cell and resolve it. So apoptosis is wonderful because it resolves the negative cells. He just gets rid of them and they go away. So we have seen people using the zeolite over the years that have seen benefits, especially when used with chemo and radiation. And the studies are fascinating. So the studies show that along with chemo and radiation, patient outcomes are improved and side effects are diminished. The last publication was 2 years ago. They actually used the zeolite along with carboplatin, a platinum-based chemotherapy. And the number one side effect of platinum-based chemotherapy is something called chemotherapy-induced peripheral neuropathy. It's damage to peripheral nerve cells due to the platinum in the chemotherapy. And pretty much everybody that has a platinum-based chemotherapy has that side effect. They tell you that this is going to be what you're left with. You're going to have nerve damage, nerve pain in your periphery, especially in your feet, for the rest of your life because it's chemotherapy. And they use a zeolite. And I had nothing to do with this study, but I'm reading the protocol. The protocol is exactly what I recommend for platinum-based chemotherapy, which is you discontinue using the zeolite 24 hours before therapy and starting in 48 hours after therapy. That gives it plenty of time for the platinum to work. That was the protocol of this study. So somebody went to one of my lectures and listened to me and did exactly that. Excuse me. So the finding of that study was that every single patient of the zeolite had zero evidence of chemotherapy-induced peripheral neuropathy. So regardless of whether the zeolite helped with the cancer, it certainly eliminated the side effect from the chemotherapy. So it improved the patient outcomes and reduced side effects from chemotherapy, which is something that we all want to see. So taken as a supplement to improve the overall health of the body is a good idea, regardless. And then with Ace's story, Ace was a child with a inoperable brain cancer. I think it's a neuroblastoma. And he was told he had about 6 months to live. And we said exactly what I'm telling you, that this might help. We recommended the zeolite, and we also recommended the immunity because the mushrooms do spike immune system function without causing a hyperimmune response. And he's gone back several times. He's doing better and better. And this last scan, they were first upset because they thought the tumor had kind of increased in size, but it was actually breaking up over time. And so that's what they found upon the radiograph showed that the tumor was actually breaking up, which we believe is undergoing apoptosis over time. And we've heard that time again. People can go to Avini Health training and look at bad cells and see people's personal testimonials. But now we have an understanding of the actual mechanism of action of how it's working.
Rick, just for their edification, anybody who wants to see exactly what's going on with Ace, there is a video up from the summit that Ace's parents came up and gave us a full briefing on what was going on. So go on to avinihealthtraining.com and you can see a copy of that.
Oh, awesome. Boy, there was some incredible information there. And thank you guys both for that. The next question this person has, and you pretty much answered it, is really they have another person who has rogue cells in the bone. Is it ever too late to share Cell Defender with someone? Just getting your response.
It's never too late. But I would say this is where I get in trouble with the distributors. I can't stand when someone gets up on stage and says, I don't trust my doctor. I'm not going to go to the doctor. I'm going to use all natural stuff. You have to use every tool in your toolbox, especially if you have a negative prognosis, you have a potentially fatal condition. I worked on several chemotherapies. I'm not saying it's the first thing you should do, but certainly you shouldn't ignore it. If you have a stage, find out what your options are, what your prognosis is, what you could possibly do, but you got to kill this thing. You got to get this stuff out of your body. So I'm not saying if you have to have surgery, if you have to have chemo radiation, none of our stuff is contraindicated along with that. It can be used with it to improve outcomes or reduce side effects. And it's never too late. I don't care if they tell you got days to live. And I've told this story too. One of the biggest concerns I had when I launched my first zeolite product back in 2004 was that there was not going to be a huge response, that it was going to be taken on faith that this was going to detoxify my body, but it wasn't something that was going to have a tangible benefit. I said, for the great majority of people, you're going to detox, but you're not going to feel any different. And that went out the door within the first couple of weeks. We're getting miracle calls where people said they were feeling better, the fog lift off my brain, I'm sleeping better than I ever have, I have more energy during the day. But we had one guy that had stage 4 pancreatic cancer They'd moved into a hospital bed in his house to basically die. They gave him less than 30 days to live. And 2 weeks in the zeolite, in addition to whatever else he was doing, he was playing frisbee with his kids. He ran out and was playing frisbee with his kids. So we got stories like that over and over again. So the answer is no, it's never too late. You should try whatever you can, at least improve that quality of life for what life they have left.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much. Okay, someone's asking, they've started on the Avini Plus Cardio Care, our beautiful new product, and want to know, they're trying to decide whether to stop taking their omega-3s or not. What's your response?
Yeah, that's a great question because we don't have omega-3 fatty acids in the cardio care. They do something different than the cardio care does. So I'm not against taking a good omega-3, like a good fish oil with DHA and EPA in it. That could only help. So yeah, they can continue to take that if that's something they're taking.
Awesome. Thank you. I have a friend who has severe bleeding from ulcerative, and he's very anemic, 68 years old. What product would be good? And thank you so much.
All right, so anemia is a very tricky thing. Anemia is not only either the body doesn't have enough iron or it's not utilizing the iron it has. And so a lot of people say I'm anemic and they start taking iron supplements and it doesn't help them. Well, there's something called pernicious anemia, which is a B vitamin deficiency. If you don't get B vitamins, your body can't utilize iron. And so I tell people not only should you take a good carbonyl iron supplement, which is an iron supplement that does not cause constipation, but you should take a B complex, which we don't sell an average B complex. We're never going to sell just a multivitamin, but you can go anywhere and get a good daily B complex to use with an iron supplement that should deal with any anemic issues. The other thing too, how old are they? Do they say how old they are?
You know what? I didn't, 68.
All right. So she's relatively young, but one of the leading causes of death of people in this country in their 80s is actually internal bleeding because of NSAID abuse, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs like Motrin and Advil and Aleve and aspirin. They're thinning their blood and they're actually bleeding through their blood vessels. And that can show up as anemia. So they look like they're anemic, but they're actually have internal bleeding. And so they should say if they're on any kind of NSAID, if they're on anything that's thinning the blood, they should be aware of that, talk to their physician because it could not be anemia, it could possibly be internal bleeding.
Awesome. Wow. Okay, just trying to keep going here. So you have plenty of time. What would help with tremors and why? I know several men in their 60s who have hand tremors.
Okay, really depends on why. Sometimes they call it idiopathic senile ataxia, which is just you're shaking and you have no diagnosis. If it's Parkinson's, that's something completely different. Parkinson's disease is a destruction part of the brain. The be all end all for Parkinson's is going to be eventually stem cell therapy, where they can regrow that part of the brain. It is neurologic. I would say two things. Of course, cell defender, which is good for everything. Okay, so a lot of metalloenzyme and metalloproteins have to do with neurologic function. I would also recommend the Plus Relief improves neuromodulation, so improves neural function. And then we just launched the Mind and Vision. The Mind and Vision has neurotransmitters in it that will improve nerve function. And then lastly, it's retraining the brain. I'll never forget, my grandmother was about 81 years old, and she was trying to put her key in the lock. And as she approached the lock, her hand shook more and more, and it was uncontrollable. And she goes, I can't do it. I can't do it. And this actually goes back to my bartending days. I bartended my way through college, and I was the East Coast champion for flipping bottles and doing tricks and things like that. And I would stack glassware up on the bar. And people would say, why aren't you nervous? You're stacking that glass. I'd be shaking. Well, because I don't think about stacking the glass. I think about what I have for breakfast or what I want to have for dinner. I take my mind off what my hands are doing, and my hands are steady. So I told my grandmother, as she approached her, I said, stop thinking about putting the key in the door, the key in the lock. Think about what you want to have for breakfast. And she just thought about that in her hand, completely steadied, and she put the key in the lock and turned it. So this is about training the brain, and not over, because what you're doing is you're overthinking now, which is causing over enervation, causing that shaking. So there are ways to train the brain behaviorally that can help with ataxia.
Wow. Okay, this one might just you can kind of lead back into that product or cell defender or whatever you suggest here. Just question on people who are concerned about the pineal gland being calcified. Is there a way, do we have anything that'll help heal that or decalcify, activate, that kind of a thing?
It's a really good question. And this is something that's relatively new, this concept that over time you can get calcification of pineal gland, which can cause all sorts of growth issues and hormonal issues. One of the weird side effects of the zeolite is mineral shuttling. And that we've seen this time and time again. The zeolite doesn't like calcium, but it still allows calcium to move into and out of the zeolite cage. And what it does is it helps shuttle minerals that it doesn't like around the body. So we've seen, in fact, we believe one of the benefits for cardiovascular health is this process where it can help reduce calcified plaques by moving calcium around the body, where it can be utilized where it's needed, where it can be used for nerve function or even building bones and teeth and resubmitting that calcium. So we don't have direct evidence that it helps with calcified pineal glands, but it should, by its mechanism, it should help move that calcium around and redeposit the calcium where it's absolutely necessary, where it gets pulled in by what they call EF hands or calcium binding proteins. So it would be interesting. I'd like to maybe do a small study, see if anyone's working on calcified pineal glands and see if we can measure that, maybe with, I guess MRIs would be the best way to measure, or PET scan or spectra scan. But it might be interesting to see over time, over 3, 6, 9 months, if we're reducing that calcification with the zeolite. It should actually work because the mechanism makes sense.
Boy, I just love to see your mind work. I know everybody's sitting here going, man, this is amazing. Thank you, Rick. We just appreciate this time you're giving us. The question is, can you ask if the new Plus Mind and Vision formula might help with someone who has blood behind the eyes due to the blood sugar type 2?
Okay, it's diabetic retinopathy, but blood behind the eye is wet macular degeneration. That's a little different than diabetic retinopathy. But when it comes to diabetic retinopathy, we actually have a testimonial. I've told this story before. I was in Maui in Hawaii with 800 people in the audience, and a guy got up to give his testimonial and said, I was blind and now I can see. And I said, hold on one second. Actually, I'm sorry, hold on one second. This could be the guy's coming now.
It's exciting or what, huh?
Oh, man. Awesome. And everyone, if you're brand new here today, you may not understand, or if you're watching the recording, Neil's busy in and of himself taking care of the business portion, and it's really hard to get a hold of him, although we appreciate him being on this call as much as he can. But to ask Rick to step out of the labs and do everything, Neil, tell us a little bit about what that looks like. I know, because I had to come to you and say, can Rick be available? Why is that?
First of all, guys, I don't realize how much time he spends on the phone with a lot of you people all the time. But we have things we're working on a constant basis. And running a lab is not just about having somebody stand in a machine and make sure all the capsules are in the right bottle. There's a lot of scientific analysis that has to go into everything we do. We have a person on QA and QC, Andrea Brun, who has to oversee everything. We have to keep everything legal. The paperwork is beyond belief that goes on there. Trying to make sure we literally have a sample of every batch that we've ever made sitting there in case, God forbid, there was something wrong. We can go back and test it. You have no idea what's going on there. So to say that Rick has time to be on a call, he does because I ask him to. That's about the only reason why, because he's really busy. And so am I. But you know what? That we told you guys a long time ago, and we tell you every time we speak, there are 3 things important to us. 1, having the best quality products, unique, that you guys are the only ones that could have, that we ship you and pay you on time, and that we realize that you guys are the asset of the company. And there is nothing that comes before that, including making the product. We need to take care of you guys. And that's why Rick takes the time, and I take the time, and Doug takes the time, and we have Chip working with us to make sure that you guys get the information you need, because without you guys, there's no company. I don't care how good the product is. It doesn't matter. So Rick, I
really care how good the product is, but that's because we care about you guys.
I was killing time, Rick. Did I do a good job? Okay.
You did a great job. We had delivery and I'm the only person here, so I had to run to the door. We were talking about diabetic retinopathy, and I said there was a guy in Maui, Hawaii, who got up on stage. And Robben, I usually hate testimonials because I'm a scientist. I want to see a double-blind, placebo-controlled study of why this is happening, or have a mechanism that makes sense. But this guy got up on stage and said, I was blind and now I can see. I said, okay, this is not a tent revival meeting. No one's laying on hands. What happened here? And he was a diabetic. He started using our fiber. He started using the zeolite. He was getting his diabetes under control. And if you have early stages of diabetic retinopathy, which is the leading cause of adult blindness in the United States, but at early stages, it is reversible. And so he basically got control of his diabetes and improved his eyesight over time. And yes, he was going blind and his eyesight improved. And he was really just using the fiber and the zeolites. So those are the two major things I would recommend. But now we have our mind and vision as well. So if that's his issue, then certainly the fiber will help stabilize blood sugar levels, lowers HbA1c. Take it 15 minutes before his two biggest meals of the day. Take the cell defender, which is going to help with everything, and then take the mind and vision to improve vision and, of course, neural function.
Thank you, Rick. That's incredible. Okay, so moving on. I know we need to get to the questions that are already on the chat too, but can dogs have plus hydration or plus cardio care? I mean, either one and or.
Well, plus hydration should be fine. There's nothing in there that wouldn't be bad for a dog, but dogs' hydration works a little differently than we do. So the mechanism is different. Remember, dogs sweat through their tongue. And so they control body heat differently. They hydrate differently. So I'm not quite sure if the hydration would be a great product for them. It's certainly not dangerous. I'd have to look into the cardio to see if there's any issue with dogs, because it is weird. We think no problem, dogs can eat pretty much anything, but there are things a dog shouldn't have. So I can't really answer that question from authority right now, but I'll look into it and see if it's something that we would recommend.
Okay, I had someone mention that they are allergic to any kind of citrus at all, and we're wondering if we would ever come out with a hydration that is non-flavored. But I know we have natural. You can give the new ones details of what is in there, how natural it is, but
Yeah, but you want, again, a lot of people use the term allergy or allergic very loosely, but allergic reaction is a very specific thing. That's your immune system is attacking you because of what you brought in. It elicits an immune response. So there are people that are sensitive to things, they're not allergic to it. So allergy is a very different thing. Certainly there are people that are allergic to certain things that come from citrus, but I wonder exactly what that is. I don't know if we'd ever have an unflavored version of the plus hydration. Right now, we only have one flavor of all of our products. I'm sure as we grow, I'll talk to Neil about maybe offering additional flavors, or even unflavored versions, but I'm not making any commitment right now. I will finish this with our flavors are all natural. This annoys me to no end when someone says, "Where does your orange flavor come from?" I say oranges, and they say, "Well, where does it come from?" And I say oranges, and I can only answer that question so many times. Our lemon flavor comes from lemons. Our orange flavor comes from oranges. It's all natural.
now I just text you something. I'm going to have you wait on that question. It's a difficult one. Well, unless you want to just go for it now. I texted because I can't say those 3 diseases, and we're not making any medical claims, just so everyone knows. But this person's asking Rick this question.
He has all 3?
Yes, this person is a woman that has all 3.
Rick, why don't we do that offline? Why don't you get
Yeah,
hold of
that
her?
might be a good one for it's just a real difficult
Yeah,
one.
let's arrange a call with them, because that's someone that has a lot of issues, and I'm pretty sure they're misdiagnosed because I've never seen those 3 together.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then we'll do that. Thank you, Rick. And then a more common problem today, people are having sleeping problems due to breathing obstructions. One friend stated his problem is getting a sleeping device and not a cellular problem. How does he not see how can he see a connection? How could Cell Defender help someone like this?
Yeah, it's a big, broad question. The number one cause of sleep apnea is actually obesity. So if he is overweight, he needs to lose the weight. And then, of course, there's all that angles of the head and breathing, how open the breathing is. There's all sorts of devices to improve breathing. But if he is overweight, then of course I recommend the Cell Defender, the fiber, and the Trim Science to try to lose weight and then get to a healthy weight and reduce those issues. Aside from that, then there's also people that have allergies, and so they can have breathing obstruction because they have allergies. In which case, I would recommend the Zemunity, which would help with the overall immune system, and be anti-inflammatory, and would reduce risk of allergic response.
Thank you. This is a question a person is knowing that they've had problems like this before, but I'm just going to read how she put it. Every time I went on Cell Defender, I continued to get continued is the key word there, neurological symptoms that were driving me nuts. I played around with different dosages and hydration. I believe my detox pathways were plugged and it was not ready to handle what was released. It didn't start with Cell Defender, but started with the regime I was on before. I was just in a bad state when I started Cell Defender. I felt really agitated in my brain, like all of the cells were jumping around, couldn't focus. It was like, oh boy, I can't even say that. It felt like my eyes were going buggy. Could you suggest to me what to do?
I say the same thing for everybody that has a detox crisis or Herxheimer reaction. Basically, for anyone that hasn't heard me say this before, we have a huge body burden of toxins, heavy metals, volatile organic compounds that are stored in our body over time. They're stored in metabolically inert tissue, especially fat, but they're also stored in muscles and nerves and bone. Different toxins stored in different places. And some people, when they start taking the cell defender, their body is so happy to get rid of it, release all this stuff. Now it's back in circulation, cause all sorts of issues. It can be like flu-like symptoms, chronic fatigue, feelings of anxiety, even tachycardia. All these issues can occur because now all these things are dumped into the system. I will tell you this, on average, it's about 1/10 of 1% of the US population, about 1 in 1,000 people. But you guys are amazing. You seem to find everybody. You find everyone that's like the 1 in 1,000 people, you guys find them all. I'm convinced you guys just hang out in front of emergency rooms and try to give product to people. That being said, they do have two choices. One is keep taking the product at a high dose and get through it. Keep cleaning yourself out, and you will improve over time. The second option is lower the dose dramatically, sometimes even just 1 drop a day. You can put 1 or 2 drops in a bottle of water and drink the bottle of water throughout the day, but lower the dose dramatically, see how you feel, and then you can raise the dose, increase the dose over time as you feel improvement. I will say this, the worst possible thing you can do after you've had this reaction is stop taking the product, because now you have all these toxins in circulation. I can tell you how many people say, this happened to me, I stopped taking your product, and it's 2 weeks later, I still feel terrible. Of course you feel terrible. You just shook all this stuff up, and now you have all this stuff in circulation causing all this damage. The worst possible thing you can do is stop taking the product, because you want to keep taking the stuff out of circulation, out of your body.
Okay, now I'm releasing you to go to the chat. Although the first question there, you already answered that about the clear mind vision and the dry eyes. And testimonials with eye issues. We have a lot of testimonials with eye issues on avinihealthtraining.com. But if you want to start there, it's up to you. I'm releasing you, Rick. If you want my help.
The first thing I see is the 2 products say 3 pills in the morning. Are you looking at a different thing than I'm looking at?
Oh, that's great. Yeah, start there. That's great.
Okay. Yeah. So the new products do say take 3 capsules in the morning. That's for compliance. The more times you tell people to take things, the less compliant they are. So he says take 3 in the morning. But it is true in almost every case, taking things more over time is better. So if you could take 1 capsule 3 times a day, that's fabulous. But you can take just 3 in the morning or 3 at night, and you'll get the benefit. But yes, you can take it throughout the day and get as much absorption as possible. I did answer a question about people who have gone blind due to sugar issues. It's diabetic retinopathy. Jacqueline is upside down. I don't know why. Let's see. The osmolality of hydration product is 220. Some research that is done says 200, 250 is ideal for the body. Another company says their osmolality is better at 900. Okay. It depends what you're trying to do. Osmolality is a measure of solid particles suspended in a liquid. Water will always go from areas of low osmolality to areas of high osmolality to spread out those particles. That just makes sense. It's simple diffusion. The osmolality, average osmolality in the bloodstream around the digestive tract is about 250. So if you want water to leave the digestive tract and go into the bloodstream, the osmolality has to be less than 250. The average sports drink osmolality is between 280 and 300. That's Gatorade, Powerade, all of those sports drinks. That's why we keep the osmolality of the plus hydration at 220. So it's low enough that the water gets absorbed quickly. Now, this is important because they say, well, what's the osmolality of water? Well, the osmolality of just water is much lower than that, of course, because you have nothing in it. It's just water. But if you want to properly rehydrate, you still need the electrolytes and the carbohydrates. So the trick is to have all those electrolytes and all those carbohydrates with that low osmolality for rapid uptake. So I don't know what they're talking about 900. 900 is a bunch of stuff. You're not getting water absorbed at 900, but of course it's going to go into the digestive tract and you absorb more slowly over time. And I've told people, take this challenge, the best challenge in the world. Get hot, get sweaty, go mow your lawn, do whatever you need to do to get tired and dehydrated, and drink a Gatorade. And you can feel it hit your stomach and sit in your stomach. You can feel it as it gets absorbed. Do that same activity and drink the plus hydration. You'll never feel it hit your stomach. It actually feels like your body took a drink. It feels like this. You just feel it get absorbed. It's a really cool feeling. If you haven't done it, I highly recommend it because it really shows you how the product works. Okay. Can you take all the products each day or only some at a time? Yes, all of our products can be taken every day. My brother just had shoulder surgery. He's using
Hey, Rick, you used the wrong word.
What?
Should be taken every day.
Yes. Certainly, everyone can benefit from all of our products. My brother's shoulder surgery is using the Marcio Cell Defender, both oral spray and topical plus relief. He's actually able to help muscles heal faster. All right, well, shoulder surgery is not necessarily the muscles. It depends what kind of surgery. If you had rotator cuff surgery, it's not the muscle. Okay. But certainly you want to heal the bursa meniscus, you want to heal everything that's in there. Certainly the plus relief helps a lot. We actually have a lot of evidence that plus relief used pre and post surgically speeds, reduces pain, reduces inflammation, speeds healing. So certainly that's going to help. On top of that, the cell defender upregulates zinc finger protein metabolism, which helps build new cells, which also help with the healing process. Can kids take all of our products? So that's a legal question. I will tell you, there's no reason a child couldn't take all of our products except for the Trim Science and the Plus Energy, which has a lot of caffeine in it. Plus Energy and Trim Science has 125 milligrams of caffeine in each dose. That's something I don't recommend for children. But we always say if someone is under 18 years of age, talk to your pediatrician about using any of our products. That's for legal issues. You rock. Thank you. Thank you, Lorena. Wow, awesome, exciting. Wow.
Hey, real quick, I got a question that was privately sent to me. A customer is real concerned about plastic bottles and wanted to know if the detoxolite is made in plastic or glass vats.
Yeah, no, all our vessels are glass. We use 50-liter glass vessels to batch. So we don't use plastic at all in the batching or the manufacturing process. It's only when it's completed, it goes into the BPA-free anti-leaching plastic bottles that we use for the plastic. I will tell you this, we only had it in plastic until I started making it in 2020 for another company, and then it went into glass. So when you read all of our clinical research, when you read all of those trials, when you read all those testimonials that occurred before 2020, all of those were in plastic bottles. So we have a lot of experience in the plastic bottles. They're perfectly safe, but we do offer them in glass bottles as well, if that's what you want.
Hey, just so everybody knows, I could attest to the fact that we make it in glass because I get bills regularly when they break the glass mantle.
Only 3 times. 3 times. Yeah. Yeah. Those glass vessels are expensive, and I broke one and some other people broke 2 others. But yes, we've broken 3 of them since we started.
I have another direct question, Rick.
Yeah.
I just don't want you to miss. Our other Avini products also have zeolite. The fiber has 100 milligrams per serving. That equals about 10 drops in a serving of Cell Defender, right? Is it equal to that? If taking fiber, should one even take the Cell Defender drops or cut back? Oh, good question. Okay.
All right. So the zeolite is in all of our products except for the nano silver, oral and topical, and the plus relief products. They don't have any zeolite in it, but all the other products do contain zeolite. But we have 2 levels of zeolite for micronization activation. We have what we call first pass and second pass. The second pass is the super fine submicron stuff that we use in the Cell Defender. That gets completely into your system, gets all over your body, into your system. We use first pass for all the other products. That we do that for a couple of reasons, primarily because we're not putting it into liquid. If we're not putting it into liquid, then it becomes really hard to control that submicron powder. It's such a fine powder. If you just a puff of air comes, it's all gone. You've lost a kilogram of the powder because it's so fine. Think of like talcum powder just going up into the air. So we use a larger particle, on average particle size, for all the other products. Now, it doesn't mean it's not getting in, but its principal use is as a shuttling mechanism and nutrient enhancer for the other products. We talk about how it's synergistic with those other products, but none of the zeolite and any of the other products negates the need to take Cell Defender. Cell Defender is the tip of the spear. Every one of our distributors should be on the Cell Defender first, and then they can add the other products.
Another direct question, and I love this because I'd love to hear you talk about our Zemunity product. Are the 7 mushrooms in Zemunity tested for yeast?
Yeah, they're tested for everything. Yeah, we have C of A for yeast, mold, spores, bacteria, a whole range of bacteria, protists, mycobacterium, as well as heavy metal content. Yeah, we have a certificate of analysis for all 7 mushrooms and for the blend of those 7 mushrooms.
I'm trying to skip through some of these. I forgot to tell everybody, don't put any comments on here, only questions today, but you guys are great. It's all right.
A lot of you rock. Thank you, Rick. Well, this person says, is there enough lutein to do good for the eyes? And I've talked about this. So there's lots and lots of research on lutein, and it is dose dependent. They have found in hundreds of studies that the minimum daily dose of lutein to have any benefit is about 3 milligrams. And this is why I get so mad, because when Centrum Silver added lutein to their product, it was 250 micrograms of lutein. So 1/12 of the minimum effective dose. I got really mad because if you saw the ads, it says now with lutein and lightning bolt, lutein. But it's what we call fairy dust. It's just a sprinkling so they can claim it's in there, but not enough to do any good. There's a spike in activity at 10 milligrams, another spike in activity at 18 milligrams. So I talked to Neil about this. I talked to our researchers. I talked to the people that actually do the research, and they said, really, at 10 milligrams, you're getting an incredible benefit of that lutein, and it is a very expensive ingredient. So we have 10 milligrams daily dose. It's actually 100 milligrams of fluoroglutein, which supplies 10 milligrams of pure lutein per daily dose. And yes, it is enough to have benefit for all the products.
We down to my wife has low blood pressure and
Yes.
is concerned. Okay, great. Thank you.
Why does she have low blood pressure? That's something you really need to be concerned with. Low blood pressure is either dehydration, she's low electrolyte status, needs to be hydrated. It could also, there's a lot of reasons for low blood pressure, but I had talked about before about bleeding. Some people have low blood pressure because they have internal bleeding that is undiagnosed. So if she does have low blood pressure, she should be concerned about it. The cardiovascular products were already low. In fact, if her blood pressure is low because of things like poor circulation or poor elasticity of the blood vessels, that's going to improve over time with the plus cardio care.
So we missed a few of your words, and the most important thing is it will not lower blood pressure if your body doesn't need it lowered, correct? Is that kind of...
Yeah, that's what I said. But also remember that part of the formula is to build better blood vessels. We've included things like a sorbitol palmitate, which helps with triple helical collagen production. So you're going to have better, more elastic blood vessels, which could help better control blood pressure. So if that's the reason she has low blood pressure, it can actually improve that over time. Well, someone asked about studies that show zeolite removes PFAs. We actually have not done those studies. We've done studies for volatile organics, although we do have the volatile organic in vitro study has shown an affinity for phthalates, furans, as well as other volatile organics, which gives ample evidence that it could help with PFAs. And that's available too on the website.
Okay, there's someone that said that have had dry eyes issues for several years and have found that spraying the nano silver in their eyes twice a day has worked really good. I don't know if you want to comment. And then
Yeah, I don't have much comment on that. It's antiviral, antibacterial. If they do have inflammation that could be caused by something alive, then the nanosilver is actually helping with that. I've said this time and time again. The cell defender takes everything out of your body that's not living, that doesn't belong in your body. And the nanosilver takes pretty much everything out of your body that's living, that doesn't belong in your body. So it's a really great 1-2 punch, getting rid of all the stuff that doesn't belong in your body. So someone takes a silver, but liquid gel for oral health, comment. Well, I don't know what that product is. I will tell you that there's a lot of bad silver products out there. We discovered that early on when we launched our first nano silver product that did break down over time, because most silver products out there become ionic over time. And ionic silver is not very beneficial and can actually be dangerous. So you wanted that 7 to 10 nanometer nanostructured silver. And our product is the only one really out there that has that layer of silver oxide that protects the nanosilver structure. And it keeps it at 7 to 10 nanometers. So it's going to be highly beneficial. And we do have both an oral spray and a topical gel.
And Rick, I just want to ask permission from you, because I know you're very busy. Do you have 10 more minutes, or should we, what do you need us to do here? Because there's several questions, but we can...
I'm going to do a hard stop at 7:10. Okay, so 7 more minutes.
All right, sounds good. Okay.
All right, so someone said, what's the best way to check pH levels? There's lots of ways. A lot of people like just urinary pH, which is always going to be slightly acidic. We've done pH with blood and with muscle biopsy. So if you really want to know your alkaline levels, you really blood pH is most important. It should be 7.4. You can get pH paper. There's pH meters you can use. I will tell you this, if anyone's ever seen a medical drama, any show out there, you'll see they rush them into the ER. The first thing you say, get me 10 cc's of bicarb stat. Well, it's sodium bicarbonate, and they put that in your blood because they want to raise your pH. They want to make you more alkaline, so everything works better. Because the first thing that happens when your body's in distress is it becomes acidic. and you want it more alkaline. So that is important. Let's see, litmus paper. Yeah, someone else is answering my questions. Can children take the plus mind and vision? Yes, there's nothing in it that wouldn't be okay for a child to take. I said that before, everything would be healthy and fine for a child except for the caffeine containing products, the plus energy and the trim science. So I started taking the heart health 7 days ago. I'm running longer before huffing and puffing. Been using plus hydration, spiked with energy. Any other suggestions for octogenarian would-be athletes? Of course, Cell Defender for everybody, but you're doing the right thing. The Cell Defender, the plus energy will give you energy and focus. And of course, the cardiovascular product is going to help as well. So yeah, you're doing good. Depending on size, weight of the person, they all require taking 3 capsules a day of the 2 new products. I've answered this before. Someone actually wrote this to support. They were concerned that their wife is small. She's only like 5'4" and 120 pounds. But all of our products are made for what we call average, which is anywhere from 45 to 90% height and weight. Certainly, you can take a little more. I don't recommend taking less. So our products are measured for a daily dose for the average person. Certainly, you can take more of the products, all of them except the caffeine containing products. So when it comes to plus energy and the trim science, watch about doubling or tripling because you're getting 125 milligrams per dose of caffeine. So you got to know about your caffeine sensitivity, but all the other products should certainly be taken more if you want, but I don't recommend taking less than recommended. Thank you, Rick and Neil. So heartwarming.
And the recording will be on avinihealthtraining.com, guys. We're trying to get through some of these comments that maybe get to some of the questions for Rick.
Someone says using our products as stem cell replacement as in before, during, after. Yeah, certainly any surgery, pre and post surgery is recommended because all surgery can cause inflammation, is an invasion of the body. So the plus relief should help. Someone says my skin where plus relief gel roll-on is used is peeling like a snake shedding its skin. The plus relief will not turn you into a cobra, even though it has cobra venom. That's just a sci-fi picture.
Hey, Rick, on that one, I've had some experience with that. And I find that when I use Plus Relief, I use it on lots of part of it tends to dry out my body. And I need to put more lotion on. I put just more moisturizer on it, and that's fine.
Yeah, I don't know why. There is a little bit of isopropyl alcohol and ethyl alcohol in it as a preservative on the topical gel. So it just could be a drying effect because of the alcohol. That's the only thing I could think of. Let's see. What product for pancreas health? Pancreas is for making insulin and things like that. The best thing probably would be, besides Cell Defender, would be the fiber, because the fiber does help balance blood sugar levels. It's certainly going to help take some pressure off the pancreas. Let's see. Wet age-related macular degeneration. Kind of talked about that. I certainly recommend the Cell Defender, but if the wet AMD was presupposed because of diabetic retinopathy, take the fiber as well, but certainly the new Mind and Vision. Is Avini gel safe for pets that lick it off a wound? Yes, it's certainly safe to lick it, but I'm going to tell you that that's the nano silver. Yeah, that's fine. There's nothing in the nano silver that's not safe to eat. St. Bernard congestive heart failure have completely cleared. So that's just a testimonial. There's a dog here. Someone just came in with a dog. Is it CoQ10 we're using in Avini Care, the natural CoQ10 from Japan? No, it is natural CoQ10, but it's made in California. It's not made in Japan. But all of our products are made and or sourced in the US. So they all come with certificates of analysis or fully tested. And all of our products are natural based. So yeah, Linda Pellick wants to arrange a call. Certainly you can write to me at Rick, R-I-K, at Avini Health, or support to create a ticket, but I'll be happy to talk to you. Someone says you report weight gain with Cell Defender. That shouldn't be possible. So I don't know why they would have weight gain with Cell Defender, except they're happy and healthy and they might be eating more, but certainly it shouldn't cause weight gain. I've had both neck arteries operated. Some of my cells are affected, causing some issue with memory, cognitive thinking, no energy circulation. Well, the cells rebuild over time. So yeah, so clearly you had some loss of oxygen to the brain during the surgery. The brain is amazing because the brain is incredibly redundant. So yes, over time you can restore all sorts of brain function. I'd highly recommend the Cell Defender and the Plus Mind and Vision because that provides not only things that are anti-inflammatory and improve vision and brain function, but also direct neurotransmitters that will help provide better signaling to it from the brain. I ran a Cell Defender with a plus fiber plus hydration, hold me over until the auto ship. I said this before, the other products are not a replacement of the Cell Defender. I'm sorry if you ran out of Cell Defender, but you are getting some zeolite with the plus fiber and plus hydration, but nothing like you get with the micronized activated cell defender. Someone has autoimmune issues when he gets hot over 85 degrees. Yeah, I don't know. I know people that have Raynaud's phenomenon, which is they have autoimmune issues when it gets cold. I haven't heard of autoimmune when it gets hot. But certainly cell defender, if it's a heat problem plus hydration, or really move to someplace where it's cold. But Donna, if this is someone I can talk to and get more information, I'd be happy to do so.
So Rick, we're at your time frame and we know we need to let you go. If you want to do one more or just kind of bring it to a close, and anyone who has put their questions on here, email them to me or Rick or Neil, and we'll make sure they get answered, or Chip even.
So I am working on the new products for the newsletter. So I'm going to have articles over the next 2 months of articles about the 2 new products, and I'll do a short video about 5 minutes on each of the new products. I'm also talking about to Neil about a new introductory video, 7 minutes, the snippet of each and every product and why you take it. But I was waiting for the new bundles to be announced so we could talk about how the new bundles work and what products go in those bundles to be able to do a proper video of those. I have been doing them. The very first product videos we did, we actually flew out to Vegas and did them all professionally, and they took forever. But I'm telling you this, I just do a Zoom at my desk. It takes 4 or 5 minutes. We post it right away. I think those are great. Give me a thumbs up. Everyone like those? Yeah, it's something we can do all the time. I can update them all the time. So I'll be doing those for the 2 new products. So,
Two quick things. One is that there'll be a newsletter coming out with a recap of the summit. And the first thing in there is actually, we list the URLs of the 2 new products that Rick did the following Wednesday night. So you'll be able to see that pretty quickly. And that'll give you a lot of good information there, about half an hour each. Second thing is I want to remind everybody about the vision tours that are coming up. The first one's in June 22nd. We have about 45 people signed up for it. I assume it's going to be a lot bigger. We already have 55 signed up for Florida, and just about nobody signed up for the rest. So you guys got to let me know if you want us to come. You need to sign up, because I ain't buying my tickets until I see some people want to come. Other than that, have a great week, guys, and watch out for emails. Crazy emails are coming out, I'm telling you.
I got to put my plug in here for the Avini Vision Tour. We had ours in Fresno, Clovis area. It was amazing. You get Neil, Doug, and Rick in person, and MJ. It's going to be fantastic. You want to get to all of them that you can, and make sure you ask other people now, your people that you're talking to, do you know anyone in these certain areas? You may be able to get new contacts coming. So thank you, Rick and Neil. We are so grateful for you, and Doug and Marcy and Chip, all of the leaders, everyone that's been on here. We will get this out to you and get it out to as many people as you can. We can't say enough, Rick. Thank you for taking your time today. We love you.